Hey, it's Brock here with Rockhill Farms, and I've got my good friend Tony from Tony's Tractor Adventure in here today.
Hello, everybody.
First thing, before we start talking too much, I always like to get some confirmation in the comments that you can hear both of us and that everything's working on the stream.
Oh, I'm supposed to talk? Okay. Okay.
All right, I see Brad's here.
Yep.
And
Brother Brad.
let's see, we got 11 people so far. We'll give it about 2 minutes before you start telling them all the big secrets you came to reveal today.
Listen, you just said, hey, do you want to do this? And I got no agenda.
All right.
What do you want to know?
Well, so we're up to at least 25 people on here now. We can go ahead and just start. I think most of the people who watch my channel have also watched yours.
Right. Yeah, I think very similar content.
We'll go ahead and if you could just give everyone like a 2-minute description of what you're about and kind of introduce yourself.
Well, I'm Tony, live in Paris, Tennessee, long walks on the beach. Now, I would say what we're doing is evolving. We started out as a tractor YouTube channel, and that was what obviously my name, Tony's Tractor Adventure. Thought all night for that name, and so that's where we started out. But we have evolved into a lot of homestead stuff. So we decided to go a more self reliant kind of way, and we're building a cabin right now. We've built our pole barn, built a greenhouse. We basically bought some land that was just nothing but woods and a small pasture in the front, and we bought another piece of land beside that, and now we are building our cabin. We're literally in the throes of building our cabin, and then once we get the cabin done, we're going to move over there, sell our house that we're at now, and then we're living the debt-free dream, and then we're going to build our other house, our permanent house, our big house, because the cabin's going to be small. It's 530 square foot with I'll say a deck that's going to be about 600 square feet.
You notice they're letting anybody in these comments now? You see
who we got over here?
Screen?
Look at that. Hank Hamilton's in here?
Yeah, they're just letting anybody in here.
I don't know. Can you put that eject button on him?
Yeah, so if you guys enjoy my videos, you'd like Tony's too. I like that when you say you're getting ready to build this cabin, that doesn't mean you're a general contractor that's hiring a bunch of people.
We're doing it.
You guys, everything I've seen you do, it's like you do it from the ground up.
We do it, and most of it's wrong, but we somehow get enough super glue on it that it sticks. And so we've done that. We've learned a lot. I grew up in and around construction, but just because you've been around it doesn't make you have a lot of experience. And when we first started this journey, I thought I knew some stuff, and every day I'm humbled by my lack of understanding and knowledge, and what I thought to be a truth is not necessarily a truth. We definitely have learned. And I just did a video on a chainsaw. It's like, hey, just tell me what you think. And just in the past, I've learned so much from the people that watch the channel. Like, hey, you're being unsafe. You could do this better, or whatever. This could happen. And at first, as you first start the YouTube journey, you get beat up a lot. You have to learn how to deal with that. And then now we're at the point where there's a lot of people out there are offering really constructive criticism that is for my own well-being. And I've grown a lot from just the community that we have.
Yeah, it's an interesting mix. Sometimes I feel like I complain too much about the comments because 90% of them are positive and constructive.
Really? Yes.
But like today, I published a short the other day where I said across a bridge, and it sounded like I put a T on it, and like 70 people have made fun of me for not pronouncing a word right, and that can like grate on you. But man, there are so many good people who watch these videos, and like you said about the tree felling, I really enjoy felling trees. But when I made my first tree felling video, that was the first big tree I'd ever cut down, and I did it on video. So to say I made a couple mistakes, like I've learned a lot from people commenting.
Yeah, the first one that I cut down on video, it was horrible. Everything wrong. Yeah.
So I like to try to catch as many comments as I can, and they're flying by.
Yeah, I can't even see them go by.
We got one asking about
Fast 2K King.
Is
I love that stuff, man. I love it.
Is it really as good as they say?
Yeah, yeah. Fast 2K. We're using. I just picked up 60 piers or 60 6x6 treated 8-foot long posts today, and that's what we're going to set our cabin on, 60 posts. And yeah, that's going to be a lot of holes.
Man, you get your mileage out of those post hole diggers. Didn't you just get a new one?
Yep, I got a front mounted one now. So this is really where it's going to shine, I think, because you can be so much more accurate. If I had it to do over again, though, I would have got the post hole digger offset. So you can get them centered or offset. And for some reason, I thought the center one would be better. And the few times that I've done it, I still can control it way better, but I have to have Tanya. She's got to put it on the mark because I just can't see in the front of the tractor what is. So if I had to do it over again, I would definitely get a side mounted one.
So I've used a front mounted post hole digger once, and it was on the skid loader.
Yeah, but you can see.
To me, because on your unit, you can probably reverse it, right?
Yes, forward reverse.
That's the game changer, because like you dig 4 holes, and on the 5th one you hit a big rock, and you got the rest of the day trying to get your auger out, But
yeah, I've done that before. Yeah, I had even on a little small subcompact tractor when we first started messing with them. I grew up on the farm. We had big 100 horsepower tractors, post hole diggers that somebody welded up a big old I-beam and made a post hole digger out of it. You couldn't really stick one of those around here. We didn't have the rocks, but so when I first started with that little small subcompact, I was in the back in some clay, and I just let it hammer down, and that's where she stopped. Killed the engine, and then I'm stuck with the front wheels almost off the ground with the tractor because it just pulled it all the way down. And I kind of panicked in the beginning because I was like, what to do? And I finally turned the PTO off, and it doesn't pull the engine down. And then I ended up having to take it all apart and take a big giant pipe wrench and turn it out of the ground. So that was a fun afternoon. It was only like 100 degrees or so it was fun.
Yeah. So I was at your property. It's been about a year ago, and those post holes. I mean, you've been putting them everywhere with that Fast 2K, and I went over and shook the poles and found out they were pretty solid. But to me, it looks like your property's completely transformed in the last year since I was there.
Yeah, it really has. So since you left, we bought the property beside us, and that really opened us up to. We've got trails everywhere now. I would say right now we're probably pushing 1.5 miles of trails, maybe 2 miles. So obviously it's not that much. You can zigzag and back and forth. You can't see from one trail to the other. It's like a state park right now.
Sounds like you need to build a whole bunch of benches and gazebos and stuff around.
They're already there. My wife, we literally set posts and a bench seat off beside the trail yesterday, and it's waiting for the post hole digger to get put on.
Yeah. And I keep trying to get a good tree so I can get some good logs, because I want to build a pergola. And the kit that I got a hardware kit from Vevor that is for 6x6 posts, and I want them at least 12 foot long. And I'm having trouble finding 12-foot 6x6s so far. But I got one log now that I think is going to be good for it. But a large percentage of everything you build is stuff you saw, right?
Yeah, we use a lot. Like all of our main structure of the greenhouse, the actual structure was post and beam. It was white oak, and then I used tulip poplar on the roof trusses that we built. The cabin's going to be commercially bought wood for the structure, because we're using treated lumber in the ground, and then we're actually putting a sit panel building up. The actual cabin's going to be sit panels where the floor is like R46 insulation, the walls are R26, and the ceilings are R46. So it's going to be super efficient. If we didn't have any windows in it, the guy told me, he said it's Eco Panels of Tennessee is who we're working with on this. He said we could heat the whole place with a light bulb, like a 100-watt light bulb. That's how efficient it is.
So speaking of your heating, I saw you guys have been putting up a lot of solar stuff. You had those solar panels that rotate towards the sun. And what percentage of power for this new cabin is going to be solar Are you going to be
All
tied
of it.
into the grid or at all? Or
All of it. Yeah, we're still going to be tied to the grid. Just for those cloudy days in the winter where you don't get as much sun. But we're pretty far south, so we get a lot of sun even in the winter. Um, but it'll still be tied into the grid. So if we don't make enough solar power, then it'll pick it up through the grid. Right now it's really cool because we have a travel trailer on it and we have our little utility shed. Our little utility shed has an air conditioner and it stays where all of our solar gear's at. It stays cool in there all year long. I mean, cool or warm. It's a little heat pump we put in there, and then the travel trailer stays cool. And matter of fact, we just upgraded to a heat pump in the travel trailer, and it's so cool to sit there and watch the meter base from the grid power just stay at zero, don't move. That's a pretty neat feeling right there.
yeah, as I watch and I see all the work you're doing with that solar and the separate buildings and the way you're setting that up, I'm thinking that seems like more than just for the little setup you have now. I wondered if that was going to do the whole house.
Well, eventually, now, right, that was a learning system for sure, but the infrastructure was built for the long haul. The system that we put in there is definitely not capable of powering the whole place. But we like the panels we put in, and we only got 1,200 watts of panels. So eventually, we will replace those panels on those solar trackers and have a whole lot more power. I just seen somewhere I missed that because my camera's sitting right in front of the little banner where somebody said they just got a T25 tractor.
Yep.
Yeah, I missed that. That's cool. The T25 is I was on it yesterday. I was running the backhoe. Yeah,
John Dill.
Yeah.
So you still have the T25 and you've got the 2515 both now.
Right, and the 474.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I'll say this: the T25 is still my favorite tractor out of all of them. I just believe it or not, the T25. I was digging with a backhoe, and just because it uses a smaller bucket, but it's still pretty capable as far as the hydraulic pressure. It can put more pounds per square inch on because it's a smaller bucket than the bigger bucket tractors with 16-inch buckets. So it's got a 12-inch bucket, but I can break through clay better with my small tractor than I can with the big tractors. And it's all about physics. But I was noticing that yesterday, where on the big tractor it does all right. I mean, the 2515, we dug most of this cabin pad with the 2515, like 99% of it. But I had the T25 down there yesterday with the backhoe, and it was noticeably busting the clay, quicker. But in the same token, that bigger bucket moves a lot more dirt.
Yep. Now, do you use tooth bars on your buckets when you're most
No.
of the time, or they're all stock?
No, I don't really believe in digging with my front bucket.
Yep.
Yeah, it's just I've seen too many people bend their loaders. I don't show it as much. I mean, I used it to scrape and cut? Yes, absolutely. But I don't show that a lot on my channel because a lot of the people that watch our channel are first-time tractor buyers, and they will do what I do, but I do it with 30 years of experience. And and I don't mean that to be insulting, but it's just a fact. If I tried to do what I do now 30 years ago, I would have broke something.
Yeah,
So,
there's definitely a learning curve.
yeah, you got to learn to finesse, and there's a feel you learn to feel in the seat.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so I was also wanting to ask you about that new sawmill.
Oh yeah,
I'm absolutely loving my mill, but I was
I know you would.
questions about that 18 that you've got. And one thing that really intrigued me, I think I saw maybe a short of you rolling the mill head with those wheels. I was really intrigued seeing those wheels, if that's meant to make it where it's more portable without a trailer, basically.
Right. Well, what you can do with that is this is my perspective of it. This is my opinion. So if you have like a garage at your house and you don't want to you don't have a place to mill all the time, and you have a flat surface, you can bring your track out, set it up, and then you roll that head out of the garage on those wheels like you're rolling a washing machine or a dryer. And you just roll it up to the track and put the front two wheels on the track. Then you pick the back of it up and it just sets right on top of the track. So it makes it where you can, when you get, cut 2 or 3 logs up, set it back off, and then roll it back in your garage. The tracks come apart really easy. They really did a pretty neat upgrade on the tracks where they're machine surfaces that when they have a bolt that pulls them together, and as they pull them together, they perfectly pull together in the right spot. And it's a big upgrade. It's a pretty neat idea how they did that. So um,
Another thing I liked that I saw on it was that when the head's back, it looks like there's a locking mechanism that you release with your
yeah,
foot. Whereas
yeah,
I'm always going around every time I roll mine back, I'm putting a clamp on there so the wind
yeah,
doesn't blow it down the track.
yeah. All the Frontiers have that. That's a pretty neat little feature there. Um, yeah, I guess probably just a little simple spring clamp from Harbor Freight would probably fix that though.
Yeah, that's what I do.
Yeah, it's a pretty elaborate system for and you have to roll it all the way back. So like on my OS 23, I've got a track extension, so I can cut 17 foot long. I think it's you got a pretty long track setup too. Um,
16 and a half.
yeah. So when if you want it to lock, you still have to roll it all the way back to that lock, and that sometimes is not doable. But I think that little OS 18 that's a real sweet spot because it's the cost is really low. But I will say get the extension because it's rated for an 8 foot cut. But I mean, you have to have everything perfectly right to do an 8 foot cut. I mean, you have to have the ends of their log has to be perfectly square, and then you set it in front of the blade like a half inch away from the blade. So that gets dangerous too when you're trying to set a log in with a tractor or something. You can hit your head. So I always say it's not that much. It's like a couple $100 for a couple $100 extra for the track extension, and you'll save that on shipping if you order if you wait like I did and ordered it later, you'll pay the couple $100 and then pay the shipping fees. On the fence about the T254, T224. If you're going to primarily mow your yard, the T224 is the way to go. It's light. It's great. I think it's like 600 pounds it'll carry in the bucket. The backhoe comes on and off really quick. A lot of people they want to say like, well, you can mow with the backhoe on. That's a feature. I don't care. I mean, who's going to mow with their backhoe on? I mean, it's so that yeah, you can do that you can mow with your backhoe on the T224, and you can't do it with the T254. But it's to me, I'm like, why would you mow your backhoe on? That just makes no sense. You're going to rip something out from the back when you swing around. But I see tractor companies say that all the time. Well, you can mow your backhoe on. Well, that's crazy.
So
I,
I
I
know
like
you just got the new Ferris mower. Before that, did you do a lot of mowing with? Do you have a mower deck for the T25?
No, prior to that, I mowed with it. Now, you guys are going to think terribly of me. I'm going to tell you the truth though. So I had a mid mount mower for my little LS tractor I used to have, and whenever we bought the farm, we started working over there so much I didn't have time to mow my own yard. So I sold the little LS tractor, and after we got the T264 tractor, and I sold the little LS tractor, and a guy mowed my yard for the last 6 years here. And I tell you, it was funny because he called me up the other day and said, "Hey, listen," he says, "I got to cut back on some yards. I want to spend some time with my grandkids, so I can't mow your yard no more." And I told him, I was like, what about my needs? And so anyway, I sent him a picture of the new Ferris mower, and I said, "Look what you made me do." So that's how we got the Ferris mower. But I have like zero experience with zero turns, and my dealer he's also a TYM tractor dealer, so we're pretty good friends as well. And he had asked me to do before we even bought the Ferris, even before I knew I was going to buy a Ferris mower. He asked me to do a demonstration between the Exmark, the commercial mower, and their Ferris commercial mower. And we already had that in the works. And then I was already talking to him about mowers. So when it come time to get a Ferris or get a mower, I went over and looked at the Exmark and the Ferris, and I went with the Ferris because of the suspension. Because turns out my yard is horrible, but I didn't know because I hadn't been mowing it for 6 years.
Yep. Yeah, all the mowers will tell you how fast you can go, but if it beats you to death, you probably won't go that fast. So
Yeah,
those
I got a
suspensions,
little error on the X Mark.
yeah,
Yeah,
those Ferris suspensions really stand out to me.
yeah. I'm a big believer. Now, again, I'm no expert, but I went as fast as I could go on all of them today, including my own. And yeah, the suspension's a big deal.
Yeah. I'll look through some of these questions here, see if
Right
we get
there, Brother
questions.
John.
Yeah, we've got all our friends are on here tonight, which Ed's already checked out. Andrew's here.
I seen it in my clutter God. Yeah.
So, all right, you guys, hit us with some questions for Tony. So, what's your biggest plans for the rest of the year? I mean, I guess it's the cabin build.
Yes, the cabin. This is a full-time gig now for the cabin. We are, like I said, I just bought 60 posts today, and I had to order them. They didn't have enough of them in. I wanted to order them all at the same time so they all look the same. You know, the different. I don't want a bunch of different colored green, treated boards under my cabin because they're going to be seen. The cabin's going to be about 4 feet off the ground, and then the deck's going to go out over a hillside. The deck's going to be about, like I said, 600 square feet out in front, maybe a little bit more. And yeah, if that's going to take our time, and like I said earlier, we're doing everything debt free. That is another reason it takes time because we're debt free is tough sometimes, especially when everything costs so much more now.
Yeah, it's worth it, and I think we were all realizing more over time how important it is to try to get out from under that debt.
Now I'm looking around because I got to look around my camera to see what it says. I can't speak correctly at all. Southern tongue. I always make the joke that my phone doesn't understand good Southern.
Yeah.
So you were saying something about you made one mistake and somebody busted you out for adding a T to something. And listen, if they want proper English, don't come watch my channel. I'll just say that.
Yeah. Hey, someone's asking the cabin size. I think you might have already said it, but
the cabin's it's 530 square feet, and my wife and I we're going to finish it out. And it's still, I mean, our first apartment was like 370 square feet when we first got married, and we thought we were living big. So this is 530 square feet. We are going to downsize unbelievably from our house that we live at now, and move into that cabin, finish it off, move into it, sell our current house, and then as for glutton of punishment, we're going to build our permanent house next. So yeah, that's the forever and ever house. That's where we're gonna go next. But it's a 530 square feet cabin. It's got big giant windows in the front, all the way across, looking into the woods down a hill. We'll probably make it an Airbnb, so you'll have somewhere to stay when you come next time.
Right, and I assume you're putting it in the same place that you were looking at when I was there.
No, because we didn't even own that property yet.
Oh, so you're going to move it down?
We bought that property
right down the hill from your driveway.
No, the property, it's not even on the same property. We had we bought the property beside us. That's where the cabin's going to be, on the property beside us, and then we're going to build the house in the same place.
Yeah, when I was there, you were signing paperwork that week on that new property, but
yeah, I was worried because you're always worried till it's done, but I didn't want anybody to ever be able to build next to us.
And then at that time, you were also talking about maybe putting a pond down there. You still see that in the future?
Absolutely. Yeah, even more so now because where this cabin's going to be, the deck's going to come out, and at the bottom of that hill, it's probably about 80-foot drop off. So it's a pretty good drop off, and I can imagine waking up in the morning and drinking a cup of coffee, looking down the hill onto a pond.
Mm-hmm. Fantastic. There's nothing I love more than going down to my pond. Like whenever, first thing in the morning, late in the evening, I just walk down there. I'll just stand there and look at the water for 20 minutes, walk around it and see what's growing, see how many frogs are out.
Yeah. So I haven't been drinking, just so everybody knows. I'm reading the comments that are behind my camera on the screen. So
if anyone's interested in seeing a cabin build, my friend Lucas from Peaks Peak is building one right now next to his pond. But yeah, on the pond front, everyone I'm friends with on YouTube has done the same thing, which is build a pond, the pond leaks, make 100 videos about why the pond leaks and trying to fix it. So
I'm sure I won't be any different because we got See, where I'm at, we've got a mixture between it goes. We have a layer of clay, which is good, but then under that layer of clay, it goes to a just a straight up sand, and then under that layer, it goes into sandstone, all which leaks. So we're going to have to do some. We're just going to build it and fix it as we go. But that's another project. We're looking at two ponds now. We got one on the other side of the property near the greenhouse, and now we're going to build another one further up.
Yeah, I caught a little bit of flack because I built a koi pond that's 20 foot long, 15 foot wide, built a waterfall, and I absolutely love this thing, but it's like 100 feet from a regular farm pond. You're like, why do you want build a pond right next to your pond? But they serve two different purposes to me.
Because I can.
I like the water. I like hearing that waterfall.
Oh yeah.
Hey, we got another TYM question here for you about the 2515. To me, that is a really unique machine in the tractor market. Nothing else really is comparable to it in terms of the size, the lift capacity, and the horsepower combination.
Well, there's every other tractor manufacturer has that frame size. That's one of the reasons that is really, I think, one of the reasons that TYM bought the Branson brand out, because of that specific tractor. It is it's unique that it's a 25 horsepower on a big frame tractor. The tractor is awesome. As far as we dug every bit of the pond or the cabin pad. We dug back into the pad. We probably dug 40, 50 tons of dirt out of this hillside with that tractor. And then uh, we've tilled with it. We've run the mulcher. The first time I run the mulcher, it only had like an hour of engine time on it. So I wasn't pushing the engine as hard as I could, and it didn't perform as well. But later on, I've used the mulcher on the back of the 25 horsepower, just but wide open, and it does pretty good. I mean, for 25 horsepower, it's pretty impressive. We use the stump grinder on the 2515. So even though the T25 is still my favorite tractor, the 2515 is now my favorite tractor with a stump grinder, because you can see really well. The 3-point hitch is very controllable up and down, like half inch at a time, half an inch at a time. And the 2515 has more torque. Even though it's considered 25 horsepower, not all 25 horsepowers are equal. Like the T25 has 25 horsepower, but the 2515 it's a bigger block engine, and it has considerably more torque.
And as far as the question, and you said it at the beginning of your answer about other brands having, so Deere has the 3025E. It's a 3
Right.
series. It's bigger than my tractor. It's heavier, has less horsepower, but I was pulling a box blade with it, doing the same work as my tractor right next to it. It didn't feel like that 25 horsepower was weaker because it's heavy and it's got big tires. And
Well, I mean, at some point you don't need any more horsepower. Just like for fact the 2515 with a backhoe. Well, you only need so much horsepower to run the hydraulics of the backhoe. If I close my eyes with a backhoe, I couldn't tell you if I was on the 474, which is a 48 horsepower tractor, or the 25 horsepower 2515. I couldn't tell you. They dig the same. I mean, because at some point you don't need any more horsepower. And pulling is one of those things where you really don't. If you're in low range, you don't really need as much horsepower as you might think. And where you really notice it is when you get into large. You can only pull 5-foot rotary cutters and flail mowers. Anything over 5 foot is going to be, it's not going to work. They just don't have the guts.
let's see. I don't know if this is something you have a comment on or not, but I thought while we were on
Absolutely.
TYM.
Yeah, absolutely. That'll help. The facility in Georgia will definitely help. They're building a new, well, I would say this, that they had just built a new facility at Branson when TYM bought them in Rome, Georgia. So they already had a lot of new infrastructure there. So it's a good purchase all around. And the two companies, believe it or not, there's a lot of similarities. They already had relationships prior to TYM buying them. They use the same engines in a lot of applications. Um, Yeah, I mean it's going to be a big time deal. They're also building a new parts warehouse there in Rome, Georgia, which is even going to make the footprint even bigger.
Yeah, definitely can't hurt anything, right?
No,
We had a we had another question. Did you just? I must have missed this one. Did you just dig a stream?
no, I dug a okay. I backed off into I was mulching last year, and I backed into a live spring that I didn't know that was there, and buried my tractor.
I
Um,
did see that.
yeah, that was that. Later on, I came back and I dug that out, and it was 8 foot wide, about 8 foot deep, and it was about 6 foot, you know, depth this way. So about 8 foot deep of water, and it filled that entire. I left it, come back 24 hours later, and it had completely filled that hole up and was running water off. So I don't know how many gallons per day that it produces, but it's fresh water and it runs every day, and it has run every day since the day that we dug that hole. That water is still just as clear as can be. The animals come there. Before it just kind of seeped out into a stream, like kind of spread out. Now there's this big water source.
So if you like watching animals, get you some water on the property. That's
Hmm.
deer every night are down at my pond. It's just part of their circle they make.
We're
But
going to develop that into a water source for us too.
if you watch, how that spring does, I don't know how the layout is, but that might be a key for keeping your pond full.
It's perfect. All of the springs are uphill from my where my pond dam was going to be.
Fantastic. We got Courtney just did a video about horsepower. I must have missed that one.
I did too.
He's usually what he puts out is pretty good. I'll have to check that out.
Mm-hmm. He's very, very, very smart guy.
Let's see. Yeah, have to bring in bentonite. There's a. This was embarrassing for me. One of those things where the viewers really helped me out, saved me a bunch of money. Is I had this one bank in my pond that was leaking. We did this major project. I rented a Mini X. We widened it out and tried to fix that leak. And then after we were done, I wanted to put bentonite across the top of that new bank. And so I ordered bentonite clay on a website, and I think it was like $80 or $100 a bag. And because I couldn't find it anywhere. And then someone's like, go to your farmer's co-op, and it was like $10 a bag. So I bought like 5 or 10 bags for the price I could have got 50 bags.
We all do it.
Yeah. So don't order your bentonite.
Well, I know that lesson now because I have a feeling that my dam's going to leak if I. It's going to be pretty good size pond there.
Here's another one for you.
I am going to test the front mounted auger. Now I can tell you already I can't use the extension on it because it's not tall enough.
So did the auger come with a gallons per minute rating on it, or do you?
Yes, it's 5 gallons per minute minimum, and the T25 is rated at 4.9. So I think it'll be fine. It's just not going to be fast. That's it's more about you're still going to have the same psi as the bigger tractor, so it's just not going to go around as fast. And it depends on how much leak by around the motor there is on the hydraulic pump. So, but I have not tried it yet. But I can tell you right now, it will not accept the. I can't use the extension. I got a 1 foot extension. Probably a 3.5 foot hole is all you'll ever get with it because it's just too. The T25 just don't get tall enough.
Yeah. I think I'm at 5.3 gallons on the loader. So,
I mean, it like when I tried on the 474, it doesn't set the world on fire.
Yeah.
I mean, it works, and it's the fact that you can drill down into the hole and then pick the dirt up out and then move over and drop it off. That's wonderful.
So is it slower than on a PTO, but it's worth it because you can reverse? Or
yes, it is slower. It is slower, but you can also like last year we got into a really dry drought and our clay turns to semi concrete, and you need a little down pressure. and you can apply that with a front mount, and you can't do that with a rear mount. I'm back there on things you don't see on video. Is me back there hanging off the back of the the PTO post hole digger in the back. Because I try not to show anything totally. But sometimes I'm back there. We're just trying to get one hole done. We need one more hole done, and the bits. My cutters are burnt up because of this clay, and so I'm out there taking a rope or something, pulling down on this thing. I'm wondering I ain't got chewed up that thing yet.
Well, you're making me feel better because about half the time I fight with the auger.
Although, yeah, it's the worst.
It looks so easy.
It's the worst implement ever made, as far as I'm concerned. Except the manual posto digger.
And then I had a friend, Billy, that was in quite a few videos with me. We were working on some projects together, and I'm recording, and it's turning, and he's over there on top of it while it's turning. And I'm like, man, I'm gonna have to cut out all this footage. You can't do that.
Yeah.
But we're not the only ones who've ever done that, I guess.
Yeah. A funny thing is in the Army, I was the safety officer. I was the guy that went around and kind of audited safety, and so I feel bad now. All the people that I used to audit watch my videos, and they're just like, "Oh my gosh, that was the guy that used to yell at me because I did something unsafe." And now I'm out here, and in the real world by myself. You just do what you got to do to make it work.
Mm-hmm. Got another question. So I find so many questions about the 25 horse because it's the #1 selling tractor because it fits in your budget, and like this, a lot of times you can do the same thing. It just takes more time.
I'm going to say no to that question though, because no, depending upon, I'll qualify it with this, depending upon what you're doing. For example, if you're going to have a sawmill, you have to have a tractor able to pick up the log size that your sawmill will use, or you can't use it. Some of the logs we put on our 23-inch sawmill, I can only pick them up with the 474. It's not possible. The T25 just can't do it. Now, there's a lot of logs. If we're in the log yard, I will generally go get the T25 if I know the log is light enough, because I just love how convenient the tractor is and how precise I can be with it. The 474 is a great tractor, but it's as you get bigger, they get more cumbersome. You can't see as well because the hoods are bigger, the engines are bigger, everything's bigger. So with the 474 versus the T25, I can see a lot better on the T25, but there's a lot of logs that I just can't pick up with a T25. So you can do a lot of jobs slower with a smaller tractor, but there's some jobs you just can't do because it's beyond the capacity of the tractor. Hope that helped.
Yeah, I get it, because I've been talking for a long time. I want a bigger tractor. And when ask me all the time, like, hey, when are you getting your bigger tractor? I kind of want a small tractor and a big tractor.
Yeah.
But,
it's the best of both worlds. I'm not gonna lie.
Two cost more than one, and I've already got a skid loader, so
that would be a hard sell but from us it's a no-brainer to have the T25 and the 474 on the property, because first off, one's generally at the other side of the property. Tony, the safety officer,
tell you what, I don't know if you like making those videos, but I think it provides the most value to the viewer. The more comparisons you can do between two similar products, or I've got 3 tractors, and can this one handle this mulcher? Can this one handle it? Can this one handle it? I think that provides a lot of value to someone who's in the market for a machine or for the attachment.
We do a lot of that where we've got a lot of implements where the mulcher. Well, that mulcher tells the story. I mean, it's 1,000-pound implement, and like the T25 is rated for like 1,300 pounds on the PTO, and it will lift 1,300 pounds. I mean, on the 3-point hitch, it absolutely will lift 1,300 pounds. But when you lift 1,000-pound implement on your PTO on a tractor that's only rated to 1,300, you're at like 75-80% of its capacity, maybe on a little higher. I'm not good at math on video, but anyway, you're looking at what happens when you get in that situation where you're on a hillside and you need to lift that implement up, but it's that high of capacity, that you're already at the maxing out your tractor's capacity. It can get you in a bit of trouble doing that. And
yeah, so my lift capacity on the 3-point is similar to that, somewhere 1,300 pounds. And Deere will tell you that I can run. I have the 6-foot Frontier brush cutter. They say you can't run the John Deere 6-foot brush cutter because the Frontier one weighs 600 pounds and the Deere weighs 900 and something.
right.
And I have used that stump grinder forever that weighed 1,000 pounds, but there's kind of a difference that you're not driving circles across 20 acres with the stump grinder or up against a pond bank or something like that. And I still kind of think if I had access to one, I'd love to put that brush cutter on my tractor because they say you can't. But it's kind of like towing. Whenever if your truck says it can tow 12,000 pounds, you say, well, I'll just tow 12,000 pounds every single day.
Yeah.
Living right at capacity is not necessarily a good idea.
It's not a good thing, and it's not going to last as long as it would otherwise.
And here's exact question, because the rule of thumb is supposed to be that you get 5 foot of cutter for every, or a foot of cutter for every 5 horsepower, which would mean
it will absolutely run a 6-foot finish mower if your grass is, you're trying to cut 4-inch grass to 3-inch grass. If you're trying to cut 6-inch grass to 3-inch grass, then it will not. And the other thing you'll run into that is the finish mower. You get into a 6-foot finish mower, then all of a sudden that finish mower may be 600, 700 pounds, and it's on casters. So if you get into any kind of hills, all of that 600 pounds is on its side on rolly wheels, trying to roll around behind you. So that's where you get into another side. If you're on perfectly flat ground, like if you're with look where Hank lives at, you could probably get by with, a 6-foot finish mower on a small tractor if you're just going to be clipping. But if you're trying to do real mowing, then no, it's a little too much. You need to stick to the 5-foot. And a stump grinder that is close to the pin. Yeah, stump grinder is way closer to the rear end. It's all about leverage. You get the big long brush cutters that stick way out. They are they're got a lot of leverage is what I was trying to say. My Gizmo's trying to get in the door over here.
Well, let him in, see if he's got anything to say. He's probably more interesting than we are, don't you think?
Look there, somebody from Ireland.
Yeah. Isn't that always fun when you see people from all over the world?
I did a genetic test not too long ago. They could be my kin.
Yeah. I wonder what the most popular tractor is in Ireland. Yeah, good question.
Oh.
All right. Let's see what we got here. We got Alabama.
Alabama, like it. Papa Guthrie.
All right. So what about your greenhouse? That's a fantastic looking greenhouse, but I was wondering, how much did you actually grow in there this year?
We've grown a lot of grass right now. So, true. Okay. Again, keeping it real, we're doing everything live as is, and we're doing it ourselves. So we started building the greenhouse, and it come along, and then an opportunity come up to jump over and start building the cabin. And we work with HB Fuller, which is the maker of Fast 2K, and they sponsor our channel. And them and another company has asked us to demonstrate some of their product, and we're going to do that in our cabin build. So, but they're like, hey, let's do this. So we kind of paused the greenhouse. It's in the dry. We poured some concrete on the floor. We still got some more to do, but it's also partially that and the fact that it is absolutely scorching hot in that thing. So there's nothing going to grow in there of any good right now anyway. So we figure this fall we'll start prepping it for, seeding and stuff in the spring. But it's done. We got the fans in.
You get that longer growing season. I just visited a neighbor who's got one he's growing stuff in. And I don't know if you've already looked at stuff like that, but he's got automatic fans that come on when it hits a certain temperature and stuff like that.
Yeah, we did a video where we installed one not too long ago. It's just, even with that, it's still too hot. We haven't got the shade cloth up yet. There's a lot to greenhousing that we just don't know. We do everything like, I want this, let's build it, and then we'll learn as we go. Probably should research more.
with all your projects you've got going, and then you guys did a pretty nice garden this year that yielded pretty good. I have a hard time just keeping up with the garden.
Well,
Right now, I've got a pumpkin patch that's doing pretty good.
Tanya works a lot harder than I do, so no, we planted a big garden this year. Our corn didn't make very well. We had a dry spring, and then it started raining. We made some corn, not a lot, but over here at this house we have a big garden too, and my wife done that, and my goodness, she watered it, and we've got more. She's got cucumbers and green beans and you name it. She can't keep up with it. We got a freeze dryer, and we're freeze drying. We freeze dry a lot of food.
Yeah, I've tried some of that freeze dried stuff. It's pretty good for snacks, not to mention just preserving for if you actually need it in the future.
Well, she like we'll take raw meat, like raw beef tips, and freeze dry it, and then you take that and your freeze dried vegetables, throw it all together, make a stew. I mean, my wife went and made a stew last week that was awesome.
I think this is almost a sore spot. Someone asked why they don't see more of you on Facebook. You post like every day or several times a week, and they don't show it to anyone, right?
I guess I've somehow offended the Facebook, the Facebook controller or whatever. I don't know, because we put out content all the time on Facebook, pretty much probably 2 or 3 times a week. We put out videos, and then we constantly are making posts and updates and stuff on Facebook. Some people still see it. We still get quite a few views there, but I get that comment a lot, like, why don't we see you there anymore? Matter of fact, I just uploaded a video yesterday on Facebook.
Yeah. We started this off jumping right into what you're doing now. I want to tell a little bit of your backstory, how you ended up as a internet tractor expert in Tennessee.
Oh my goodness, yeah. I don't know about expert.
Did you ever see yourself there?
No. I went into the long story short, I went into the Army for 4 years to get college money, because I grew up on a farm and we was po. There's a difference between poor and po. That's a big difference. So I went in the Army for 4 years and I liked it. So I stayed for 30 years in the Army. And halfway through my career, I became a warrant officer, which is like, in the Army, that's the best rank ever. Everybody's afraid of you. Nobody knows who you work for. You can literally walk around with a clipboard for weeks and nobody will talk to you. It's great. It's a great job. But after we retired, we decided to move back to my home state. And my wife's from Germany. Met my wife in Germany. We've been married for 31 years now. And we decided to move back to Paris, Tennessee. And I bought a little tractor. My whole I had no idea about the YouTube thing, but I bought a little tractor, and I did I was on a tractor forum, and I showed a picture of my tractor and the new tiller I had. And a guy asked me on that tractor forum, could I please put a video out on how to set the tiller up correctly? If I could find that guy, I'd give him a big hug, because he was the catalyst. Because I was like, I don't know, I've never done a video. So I did a video. I put it on YouTube, and I don't know, like a month later, it had 12,000 views. I don't remember the exact number, but anyway, it had a lot of views, and that's how it all started. And the little bell went off, and I was like, hey, I'm retired. This is another possible source of income. Let's see what happens. And I don't do it for the income, but it's turned out to be a nice career.
So you're retired from the military now?
Yes.
Yeah. Well, thank you for your service. I always like to make sure and say that.
Yeah, I enjoyed it. I mean, there's a few days, there's a few bad days, just like every job, but for the most part, I enjoyed my career thoroughly. Learned a lot. Definitely got promoted out of my knowledge range.
Yeah. Well, that's great. Let's see what else we got here. We got any more questions? Really enjoyed the truck videos.
The old boom truck. Yeah, that's getting ready to be back. I got to get that dude down the hill. So all the brakes have failed on it. I never got around to putting the rear wheel cylinders on it, so the brakes will leak down. So either one or two things. I'm either going to try to just bleed the brakes out and make it down. It's going to make it to the bottom of the hill. I have no doubt about that. I just don't know if it'll work when it gets there. But I got to fix the brakes on it before we get down to building this cabin, because I'm going to use that crane to pick the SIP panels up and set them up on the Yeah, but we got to do something about the brakes on that thing. The brakes weren't good when they were new.
Yeah. That's a great resource to have that, even if you don't use it that often, but when you need it, you need it.
Listen,
Nothing
they
else
make
is going
some
to do
really
that.
nice mouse houses. Uh, there's hardly any of the seat left anymore.
It is named Ichabod. Was that it?
Yeah, Ichabod Crane. Hank Hamilton named that. That's where that name come from. He said you should call it Ichabod. And I just thought about the old that one book I read, and I was like, that's pretty cool.
Fantastic. Got so Gizmo carry a chicken around.
Oh yeah, yeah. Gizmo got in.
Nope.
People, I mean, Gizmo's got a following now. So people have we got a little PO box on our. If you look below our videos, it's got a PO box, and people send Gizmo toys and stuff. And it's fun for him, and it's kind of fun for some of the people that are viewing and really like him. They'll send him a gift, and we'll show it on the channel and call their name out, and he loves it because it's become a new thing now. Where over the last I'd say the last 2 or 3 months, we play chicken or ball or something on the channel before we do any work. We got to play. So when we get out of the truck, he starts looking for a toy, and that's his thing now.
That's a lot of fun. Said Hank said you won't sell him that truck. I'm thinking like the one thing Hank needs is another piece of old equipment around him.
Listen, he needs that crane truck. I'm telling you.
Yeah, yeah, you can't have too much, right?
Yeah, well, that crane has been. I mean, it's been a big deal for us. It's like we hung our trusses on the greenhouse. We hung our trusses with our pole barn. We're gonna put the roof panels on the cabin with it. If you had to rent a piece of equipment to do all that on all those different days, it adds up. And the fact that I've got a background in crane maintenance, that really helped me. I wouldn't say it would, I mean, I would want to take it to a job site and work it, but the guts of it are pretty good.
Yeah, yeah. Someone's asking how the solar's working out. Is all that stuff
Listen,
installed working?
we learned a lot. That was one of the reasons we went with that lightweight system, is because I didn't even know the questions to ask. That was the problem. Um, so we went and built this small system. It opened my eyes to so many different aspects of where you save money. Because, so for an example, if you have a solar panel, if your solar system can take in, say, 500 volts of DC current from your solar panels, well, you can run a thinner wire than, say, if you can only get 60 volts. So you can get the same amps through a smaller wire, which it turns out, when you start doing solar, that's a big amount of money, because wire is your biggest expense right now. So just little things like that, and just understanding. Like I get so much grief about the solar tracker, and I get a lot of grief about those, believe it or not. Like, well, it'd be cheaper just to put the solar panel stationary and just have extra solar panels. First off, that solar tracker is not that expensive. It's like $500. And in the mornings, when the solar tracker is tracking, it increases the output of about 70% more than it would be if in the morning if the panels were just facing due south. Um, so a lot of people say, well, if you just add more panels, it'll make it up. But that's not necessarily the case, because maybe in the morning you have sun, and then midday comes, you don't have any sun because it's cloudy and raining. So over the long haul, having the tracker really pays off. It keeps the batteries charged almost all the time. And like I said, it's a wonderful thing to watch the meter not move from the grid power when I got two air conditioners going, a microwave, and a water heater. Because that's what my little travel trailer runs completely off that thing.
Yeah, so I'm going to have to look into it more and get a little bit more elaborate with it. But I had power from the pole to the house to the shop to the second shop, and with the Quonset hut, and then I'm going to build a sawmill shed. And it's a lot of expense and effort to trench in power to all of that. And I may do it eventually. But right now, I'm just running lights off of one of those portable solar generators.
Right.
And I don't run enough out there that it matters. So I just have my panels facing one way, 400 watts of panels. And every time I go out there and turn the lights on, the bank is charged.
Yeah.
If I start doing more out there, then I'll have to do something a little bit better.
Yeah. they there's just it's like anything, which is better, John Deere or Kubota or TYM. They're everybody's got, they're but I never dreamed when I did that solar panel install that there were that kind of uh, people like they're so into you do it this way or it's wrong, and you know it works. What we're doing right now works really good. So
Yeah.
let's see here.
Yeah. Long time, a lot of long time viewers sticking with us here.
Yeah.
Andrew lives close to me. I think he watches you a lot.
Yeah, Gizmo the safety dog. Yeah, he he's always we have to watch him. He's like having a kid around because he'll stay real close to Tanya when we're filming, but sometimes he'll want to get out, and when he gets tired, he walks out in front of the tractor to let me know that he's done and wants to go home. So I have to really keep an eye on him, especially towards the end of the days. He gets tired. Now that we got the travel trailer up and running, we keep the air conditioner on in there. So generally he'll work with us till lunch, and he's got Alaskan Husky in him, so he's got really thick hair. He's just hot. So we carry him up to the travel trailer, and he'll go to sleep and stay in the travel trailer till we go home. There's
Here's
John
Brad.
Deere way, and they're on. Yeah, there we go. I like it.
Yeah, Brad's giving us a hard time here, and that's the truth right there. What do you
That's
think
right.
about solar trackers? You just kind of answered that one, I think.
Tony, what about the link to the solar track? Under each one of the videos, you're talking about the link to it. There's a link under each video where to buy it. Uh, just to be transparent, just like a lot of us do this, we have a affiliate program where you buy it. I'll get 3 cents. I mean, if enough people buy it, I'll get a soft drink. But
Yeah, that's Andrew's been telling me always you need to mention those links more often because that's a way that the viewer can help you without spending more money than they were already going to spend.
yeah,
If you're already going to buy something, find somebody's link and click on it.
I do like in the video. I'll say if you're, link in the description below, and then but I don't want to be pushy and become a salesman. Uh, well, the way we work, I mean, we're sponsored. Our channel's sponsored by a number of sponsors, but they all have to agree that I never tell anybody to buy anything. I just show it work. It either works or it doesn't work. Some of the videos, the viewers don't see because it didn't work, and that's like I'll show it not work, or or you can take it back. I don't want it. And that's kind of the way. That's our rule of thumb, and it's worked real good for us. Just don't tell anybody to buy anything. Show it work. Leave a link. If they go study it, but like our tractors for a good example, you don't hear us. I don't. I will consider myself a TYM ambassador, but you don't hear me out there just like constantly TYM, TYM, TYM. I just I show it work, and it's hard. If a tractor will pull a plow, it's hard to fake it.
That's one that has been a pretty good series. None of us talked to each other about it, I don't think, but you did a plow video with the 474, and then Brad did one on his Kubota 39
Right.
horse, and then actually Courtney did one too, and then I put one out with mine. I think I had the hardest time of anybody, and then you ran it again with the 25 horse. Of course,
Yeah, that's
ground
night and
conditions
different. Yeah.
matter, but that's a pretty good test right there.
Yeah, that was a little. I mean, I pretty much knew going into that was a little bit. I just didn't have the horsepower for that plow setup.
Yeah.
Yeah,
All right.
those lights are crazy bright.
Yeah, that video really did great, and those lights. I've never ran all 10 of them at once.
Well, I mean, if you want a tan, you could.
Yeah. All right. Hey, so we just hit an hour on here, which is what I like to go
Wow,
for.
that's quick.
Yeah. So, you got any closing thoughts or any words of wisdom you want to hit on before we wrap it up? Any funny stories?
Nothing that comes to mind right now. The we've been rolling so hard. Nothing's been funny. We've just been loving. I mean, we love life. Don't be wrong, but we're getting up at 5 o'clock in the morning, or we're leaving the house at 5 o'clock in the morning, going to work at. We're at the farm by 6 because we work till 2 or 3 in the afternoon, and by then it's 100-degree heat index. So No, I mean, just if you're interested in the cabin build, that's going to be a good video. Those are starting to come out pretty soon. Uh, it's kind of like we do our day to day stuff, and then we put out like a big series, like the greenhouse series. Those videos done really well for us, where we do a start to finish type video, and that's the same thing we're going to do in the cabin. There'll be a series, and then there'll be an overall build. This is going to be a year project for us. So, and we've never done it before. We're going to fall on our face, and we're going to show it all.
Yeah, that's a series I'm really excited to check out. I'm excited for you to be building your dream out there too, besides the
Yeah.
videos. So
My cat says it's time to go.
yeah.
I don't know if y'all can hear that or not.
Uh,
No, my cat's back there cattywallering.
all right. Hey, well, I really appreciate you jumping on the live stream with me. If you
I
guys
enjoy it.
already following Tony, go follow him. It's good content. So.
Yeah. Well, same if any of my viewers are watching and don't know you, then yeah, you guys make good stuff, man.
All right. Hey, I'll talk to you later. Thanks for watching, guys.
See.